a scheduled time for me. I'll probably do a longer one this weekend. But there's a video out there right now of Issac Cappy talking about how they tried to set someone up, someone you all know and love. That's what he said. And Johnny Dubb, aka I believe Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, said you need to jump on this because he thinks that Issac was criticized. The thing about it is the fact that Issac actually mentioned my name. Their whole argument of Issac and I didn't know each other, that doesn't work anymore because obviously he knew exactly who I was. But I know exactly who Issac was talking about when he said that they, oh, damn it, tried to set someone up. I just overflowed my water. I know exactly who Issac was talking about when he said that they just tried to set up someone that everyone knows and loves, and it was Fiona Barnett. If you remember right, if you remember, I said that when Issac and I got into an argument, Issac had told me that the first of the beginning of the conversation was he didn't have any money. He was convinced that someone had screwed with his PayPal and his Venmo. I think he had a Patreon account too, and was telling me that they had screwed with it because nobody was donating to him, and so he didn't have a pot to piss in. He didn't know how he was going to feed himself, and that's how the conversation started. But then the conversation digressed. That was the very conversation that he told me that someone had given him 4 phone numbers connected to Colonel Michael Aquino. And he was harassing Michael Aquino over the phone with these 4 phone numbers. And I flipped out on him because to me, it was reckless and it was stupid. And I didn't see what he was trying to achieve harassing Michael Aquino on the phone. Michael Aquino was not someone you wanted to go harass. That's how it worked. You didn't want to harass Michael Aquino. So I ended up ending up the conversation. Well, it wasn't more than a day or two after that. All of a sudden, Issac Cappy had this round trip ticket to fly to Australia with an open-ended return date. And I was just like, how the fuck did you pay? And I didn't ask him, obviously, but I was talking to Fiona at the time and asked Fiona, now Issac, and he left a couple days after that. That ticket had to cost a bunch of money. And at the time, I remember Fiona telling me it was some government dude in Australia and had bought Issac the ticket. That's who paid for Issac to fly to Australia out of the blue. Issac goes to Australia. Well, at the time, Fiona was getting ready to have this big family gathering. Her mom, her brothers, her sisters, I don't know. She has family. And it was supposed to be this big to-do. Everyone was getting together. The setup, the reason why Issac's so cryptic when he's talking about it is because they tried to use him to set her up. That's the conversation that I said. I was on the phone with Fiona because Issac wanted to bring Ella High Priest and this Australian government dude to Fiona's house, to this party. And Fiona said no. And so, hey, Saki, Fiona said no. She wasn't going to she didn't want Ella High Priest, and she definitely didn't want this government dude because they were trying to shut her up at the time. And so they were having all of this, that it was to just, so in the conversation, Issac, I think I was the one who called Fiona at the time. And Issac was screaming in the background. And it sounded like he was breaking shit. Come to find out, he was screaming and he was breaking shit. And then Fiona told him, David Shurter is on the phone. And the minute Issac found out I was on the phone, then he went outside and I could still hear him screaming, and I could still hear shit being broke. Issac had a meltdown because Fiona didn't want Ella High Priest or this Australian government dude at her house. She didn't trust the situation. And so she didn't want to do it. And Issac was an insolent fucking kid about it and threw a fit. He was mad that he couldn't bring this Ella High Priest. And it pissed me off because I didn't understand. If you're throwing a party and you don't want someone to come to your house, then they don't come to your house. And it should just be a simple, no, I don't want them here. Just that. That's who Issac is talking about. The person that you all know and love was Fiona. They tried to use Issac to set Fiona up because the whole Ella High Priest, which had all this shit to do with blood diamonds, there was so much shit going on down there. And they were trying to shut Fiona up all they could. And I was talking to Fiona at the time every day because we were, we were survivors. Aquino was, part of our past. We'd both been at the Bohemian Grove. We had a lot in common, And to be quite honest, they have shut her up. She doesn't do shit now. In fact, the very last time I talked to her, she's convinced that the shit that they did to her, she's going to die anytime. She's not a healthy person anymore. And, but that's who Issac Cappy was talking about when they were talking about someone you all know and love, and they tried to set them up. He was talking about Fiona Barnett. And I know that because I was involved with the whole situation. I was involved. I was already mad at Issac at the time. I was already mad at Issac at the time. And so but then when I heard him throw this fit in the background, and it was simply because she didn't want these idiots at her party, it fucking pissed me off. And I'm in the United States still. And I wanted to beat him up because it was just like, dude, if she doesn't want these people at her family gathering, then they don't come to her family gathering, And the proper thing is to say, okay, I'll tell them they're not invited and drop it. But he was screaming and he was breaking shit. And at the time, Fiona came down and started. It was her contention that they brought Issac down so that they could set her up, so they could shut her up. Because Fiona, if everyone remembers right, with the documentary, that Candy Girl documentary and all the shit that she did, she had made quite the splash, especially in the survivor community, And I don't believe I don't believe that Fiona is a bad guy. I don't. Does she have bad guys around her? Maybe. It's hard to be a survivor and know who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. They inundate us with fucking all kinds of people. And, but she didn't want, when he's talking about the setup, and that's why he said, no, not Shurter. It wasn't Shurter. But at the time, Issac knew that I wanted to beat him up over the shit because I was so mad at how he was acting. And it wasn't just Fiona. It was her husband. Her kids were there because her kids were young, well, not super young. They weren't like little kids, but they were there. But the reason why I stayed friends and kept dealing with Issac was because of Fiona. Fiona told me that as a Christian man, I needed to try and teach Issac the word. And so someone had sent me that weird video that he was in where he played the Antichrist child killer, where he kills a child in the video. It was a movie. It was like an avant-garde, something that you would make in college. But I was pissed at it because I figured what survivor or survivor advocate would do such a thing? And so I was already, and I had already decided to cut Issac off. It was Fiona that convinced me not to do it. And so against my better judgment, I ended up being friends with Isaac and talk to him. We did Periscope things. I would call. He'd ask me if I would be willing to go on Periscope. I did it several times with them. You know, talked about the shit that I was involved with, the stuff that I knew. And it was painful because watching that video this morning, I miss Isaac. He was hard not to love. You know, he was hard not to love. He had that little boy lost quality, and he was hard. Anyone who dealt with Isaac ended up loving Isaac. That's the reason why they're so freaked out about everything going on. And the names that he named, I don't think any of that is AI. I know Gabe Hoffman was on top of Isaac, you know, at the time, on top of him. And Isaac was calling out all kinds of people. What people don't like is that he was calling out Republicans as well as Democrats. And right now, oh no Republican, if you have an R after your name, you can't possibly be involved with any of this shit. And yet, they were all involved. There were no Democrats. The only Democrat that was involved in Hummel Park that I remember is Barney Frank. You know, he was the only Democrat that was involved. Otherwise, they were all rich Republican dudes. But I want to go on record right now and say I know exactly who Isaac was talking about when he said that. I know exactly who he was talking about. You know? And this whole Isaac and I didn't know each other, obviously that's not true. He knew exactly who I was. He mentions me by name, you know? And so obviously Isaac and I knew each other. So that argument is out the window. But the whole, they just tried to set someone up that you all know and love. And the reason why he was so disgusted is because he was disgusted by himself, with himself. I have a feeling that that was the whole I'm Judas bullshit at the end. That's what I believe. Because they were desperately trying to close Fiona Barnett up. And now they have. Effectively, they have. She doesn't do shit. You know? She doesn't do shit. And if I do talk to her, I never bring up anything. I certainly don't bring up Isaac. Because if I ever bring up the stuff that I'm still involved with, she yells at me because she doesn't see the point. She doesn't see what purpose it'll serve. She thinks there's no hope for any of it, and I should just get away from it. Maybe she's right, but here I am. Because I'm kind of like that. When I make up my mind and make a decision, it's hard to sway me from that. And so I do. But I just want to be on record. This is a short one because I'm going to do a longer one this weekend. I'm going to come do a longer one this weekend. But I wanted everyone to know. I know exactly who he was talking about. When he said that there's someone that you know and that you love, if you look back at the time, who did everybody know? Who did everybody love? Fiona Barnett, because she made a huge splash. She was so much more effective than I ever have been, you know, and the fact that she was a woman in Australia, it just shows what a remarkable person she actually is. And I know that her and her family were doing everything they could to expose Isaac to Jesus Christ. I know that. I know that for a fact because I was dealing with it every day. And so they don't record me with those magic rocks. Those magic rocks had smart dust on them. They were planted in my yard. They were part of their directed energy weapons. I lost 100 pounds in 2 months. And then someone told me to go look for rocks. As soon as I got rid of those 12 rocks that were strategically buried in my yard, I suddenly stopped losing weight and gained it all back. But this is a Doug Mesner argument. And who's the one who actually sent me the shit to Isaac Cappy? Who wanted to get me all defensive? Johnny Dubb, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. But let me tell you something, dickheads. In town here, investigators, I would especially, since I sent a letter to the insurance commission, have an issue. Because one explosion that levels a gas station is different than two explosions that happened 9.5 minutes apart. And it was pretty easy to prove, you know? Fiona Barnett has not died, dickhead. You know? You're fucking dumbass. Fiona Barnett is not dead. So this is the shit that they'll do. Right here. This is the shit that they'll do, and I'm going to leave it all. In fact, I'll take a screenshot of it. Oh, really? I just talked to her last week. She's been dead for a year, so who the fuck was I talking to last week? You know? She's not dead. This is all bullshit. This is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Issac Cappy, and she obviously wasn't. They did not clone her. Oh my God. And that's why she got out of all of this. Because a lot of the people who are involved with this are fucking delusional, or they're playing for the other side. And they say all this stupid shit because they think all their stupid shit is going to make everybody discredit every other survivor. Because some anonymous idiot that has an anonymous name comes out and spouts shit. So that means that everyone who comes out and says anything as a victim or a survivor is crazy because this stupid anonymous bullshit. You know? That's fucking stupid. It's all bullshit. He's not dead. I know that for a fucking fact. You know? I'm surprised you guys aren't telling everybody that Issac Cappy is cloned. Didn't die off there. That was all AI, you know? You'll come up with the stupidest shit. You'll come up with the stupidest shit. And then expect everybody to actually take you seriously. And you're anonymous. You're always anonymous when you come up with this stupid shit. You know? At least have the fucking balls to come out with your real name. If you're going to actually want to make a stand, come out with your real name. Because otherwise you just look like a little punk ass bitch hiding in the shadows talking shit. You know? I don't need fucking proof, dude. Trust me, Fiona's not dead. You know? Fucking stupid. She's not involved with any of this bullshit anymore. And they're still on top of her. Fuck, they just tried to kill her over the New Year's. You know? They want everybody to convince it because they still want to take her out. They still want to shut her up just like they want to take me out. You know? I get death threats all the time. They just jumped over my 9-foot fence last night and broke a fucking concrete statue jumping over my fence. That's the shit that they do. Because it's all this child trafficking bullshit. And now with all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff coming out, they're spinning in fucking circles. Because they're just pathetic little bitches. They're afraid that their little child trafficking shit is going to come out. This is the stupid shit they can do. This is the stupid shit. They hide in their little houses, in their little dark ass basements, in their mom's house, doing this kind of shit while they're doing meth at the same time. That's what happens with my sheriff in town. You know, they hook people on meth and then they get them and they're able to control whatever they want to do. You know, whatever they want to do. But I only have like 30% on my phone. I'm not going to fucking stay on here. I'm going to do a much longer one this weekend. But I wanted to come on specifically to deal with this whole situation with Issac. The person he was talking about, who was almost set up, someone you all know and you all love, was Fiona Barnett. You know? Johnny Gosch died years ago. The Aquazino brothers were involved. My dad was involved. My dad is actually called Noreen Gosch. I know that. Noreen Gosch told me that herself. You know? But they all play these fucking games. And this is the shit that they're able to do. That's all they're able to do. You know? And so it's just pathetic and sad and stupid. But they murder people just like they came in and murdered Owen. just like they murdered Issac, just like they murdered Lori King, just like they convinced a bunch of people. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, sends people to Neil Brick's Smart Conference in Connecticut. They meet up with all of these people, and then they convince these women to kill themselves because they have dark ass parts. That's how I knew that Colonel Aquino and Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, was involved with QAnon. When they convinced that dude that his kid had evil parts and they needed to die, they convinced this psychotic dude to go harpoon his kids. And he drove to Mexico and harpooned his kids. And that was all shit that they were told on QAnon. And they think they're all safe. They all think, but they don't think they're safe because they're all dancing around like fucking dumbasses right now, scared and attacking me. Because I won't stop. And I'm not saying anything I haven't already said for fucking years. I just keep saying the same shit over and over and over. But I know that Neil Gross, and let me explain something at the very end of this. Neil, I never said anything about hurting your kids. I'm saying that it is scriptural. It is written that if you condemn yourself to hell, 3 to 4 generations of your family. So when you condemn yourself, you condemn your kids. And choosing to protect these fucking child killers, it's better to tie a millstone around your neck and drown yourself in the ocean than hurt a child. It's God. If you are actually affected and scared of what is in Scripture, then maybe you need to question why you're afraid of what's written in Scripture. You know? That's what ends up happening. Thank you. I'm going to pray. I got to get off of here because I have shit I have to do today. I have shit I have to do. And I wasn't going to do this video, but actually I wasn't going to come on here. But after they sent that thing out there with Issac Cappy, I wanted to deal because it took me a while to think about what the fuck is he saying. That's the irritating thing about Issac for me. He talked in all this cryptic bullshit. Just say what the fuck it is you have to say. Just come out and say it. You were able to claim names, so why not just say the name? Who was set up? Instead of just, he didn't want to say that because they used him to try and do it. That's why he didn't say it. Because they tried to use him to set up Fiona Barnett with Ella High Priest and that Australian government dude. I don't remember his name. And I sure as fuck ain't going to reach out to Fiona and find out because she'll yell at me and she won't tell me because she doesn't want to be involved. They constantly are after her. They want to take her out, throw her in jail, do whatever the fuck they can. And she's not even doing anything anymore. You know? She's not doing anything. And so, all of this shit has been going on for so long. Fiona Barnett is not dead, you know? But whatever. Tell yourselves whatever, you know? Okay, so Fiona Barnett is dead and they cloned her. Well, why didn't they fucking clone Issac Cappy? Wouldn't it have been just easier to fucking clone Issac Cappy? Why didn't they clone Issac Cappy? It's fucking stupid arguments, you know? That doesn't make any fucking sense. If they're cloning everybody, why didn't they just clone Issac Cappy? Fuck, they could have murdered him. No one would have known, you know? It's fucking stupid, you know? Cappy was a threat. He was a threat. That's why they took him out. What other suicide have you ever heard of that has a deluxe 2 CD set? It was because of who he was calling out. You know? It's because of who he was calling out. He wasn't a junkie. He smoked pot. Big fucking deal. He wasn't a junkie. But this is the shit that they do. This is the shit that they do. I don't know about Max Spears. His mother told me he was clean. Who fucking knows? I didn't know Max Spears. I knew Issac. Isaac wasn't a junkie. But then they say the same fucking thing about me too. What are you going to tell everybody, that I'm a junkie too? People in fucking town know that I'm not a junkie. Don't look like a junkie, no meth head scars, don't have the fucking Skeletor look. Nope, I'm gonna leave you on there. I'm gonna leave you on there because I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna pray that I'm gonna get off here, but this is the shit that they do. And they come on here every fucking time because that's what they want to do. They want to dismiss everything. And why are they trying to dismiss everything? Because they're trying to hide their child trafficking operation. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hide their fucking child out. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. They're targeting your fucking kids with that satanic after-school daycare bullshit. The same shit that the FBI busted a year ago, last September, in New York City, is the same shit they're all involved with. No, dude. I was 13 years old and have a psychotic break. I didn't go to jail even though the police were called. And the ambulance came for me because I tried to kill myself right after that. And that happened when I was 13, you fucking dumbass. I was 13, not 15. I ended up in the mental institution at 14 afterwards. It's not hard to prove. It's not hard to prove. And so, but this is the shit that they do. This is the shit that they do. And what difference? I'm 58 fucking years old. I haven't been 13, 15, This is Geo. This is either Geo or Daniel Dowd or part of the Dead Isaac Cappy Club, because this is what they're doing. Daniel Dowd, who wasn't even on the bridge for 4 years with Isaac Cappy, and now wants to be heralded as a hero because he was on the bridge trying to save Isaac Cappy, but for 4 fucking years. And who has a mugshot for having sex with a kid under the age of 12? Daniel Dowd. That's who has it. They're all fucking felons. They're all convicted criminals for the most part. And those who aren't convicted felons hang out with them. That's the shit that happens. This idiot is the one who's doing this shit. That's what it is. And they hide as anonymous dumbass fucks. So fuck the prayer. I just want to leave this on here. So I'm getting off here. Probably catch me tomorrow or Sunday. I'll do a much nicer, much live one because I'm sick of these fucking child killers. The shit is going to get investigated because they're already investigating the Early Iowa gas station. They're already investigating the Early Iowa gas station explosion because there's problems. And when they find out with problems there, they're going to look at all the shit that I have sent Neil, all of their stupid shit. That's what's going to happen. And they're going to get arrested. They're going to get investigated. And that's what they don't like. And that's why they're doing all this stupid shit. That's why they're doing all their stupid shit. It's sad. Because I'm not the one who's a fucking felon. I'm not making any excuses, dude. It was already dealt with years and years and years ago. It was dealt with in my family. I'm not going to actually beg. It is. It's I'm not going to actually, why would I beg for forgiveness for people who weren't there, weren't affected with it, have nothing to do with it, just want to use it because they'll do anything they can to shut down someone from exposing their child trafficking operation. And if you think that in their child trafficking operation, they're not fucking kids, you're a fucking dumbass. That's how it works. What difference does it make to you? What? Who cares? You fuck kids, Geo. You're a criminal involved with child trafficking. You came in and murdered Owen and then bragged about it by posting all kinds of shit on YouTube. And Daniel Dowd with all the live YouTube videos of Harlan, And he didn't get molested. I didn't go to jail. It was so bad that I didn't get arrested, didn't go to jail, didn't go to court. The only thing that happened was that the Minnesota courts ordered child protective services into my dad's house because they knew I, as a child, was being fucking hit. No, I was 13, dumbass. But they'll change it all they can. They'll manipulate whatever they can. but I'm 58 years old now. They're fucking kids right now as adults right now. So where are your excuses, dickhead? You know? No, I wasn't. And I'm not going to argue this, but I'm going to leave it here. This is Geo. I would be willing to bet this is Geo. It's either Geo or it's Daniel Dowd. This is the shit they do. This is the shit they do. They are fucking child traffickers and they need to be investigated and they need to be stopped. Your children aren't safe without them, with them on the streets, flat out. And this is the only shit they can do. This is either Daniel Dowd or Geo Farnsworth. Just saying. With that said, I'm out of here. It's a beautiful day. Fill your hearts with love. Follow the word. Save your souls. Don't be like these assholes.